Welcome to Learning Lovecraft with Ken James and Jason McKittrick, brought to you by Cryptocurium.
May the merciful gods, if indeed there be such, guard those hours when no power of the will or drug that the cunning of man devises can keep me from the chasm of sleep. Death is merciful, for there is no return therefrom. But with him who has come back out of the nethermost chambers of night, haggard and knowing, peace rests nevermore. Fool that I was to plunge with such unsanctioned frenzy into mysteries no man was meant to penetrate. Fool or god that he was. My only friend who led me and went before me, and who in the end passed into terrors which may yet be mine.
Welcome, folks, to another episode of Learning Lovecraft. I'm your host, Jason McKittrick, and joining me as always, the Eldritch student, Mr. Ken James.
Hello, folks.
That was the opening paragraph of H.P. Lovecraft's Hypnos, the subject of tonight's laid-back episode.
Yeah, we're just chilling out.
We're just easing into the new year. Hope your holidays were good. Hope your new year started off quietly. That's how I like mine to start off.
Yeah, mine's kicked off with like a food allergy, itching up and down. It's been wild already.
Yeah, I got to witness that live. It was an eldritch horror.
Yeah, and then now I'm just like, I'm itchy everywhere now. So
That's
it's like
so weird.
It is so weird, and me and the doc talked. We got things squared away.
Oh, good.
Got to start. Lotion, like fully lotioning after the shower.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like full old man stuff.
Right.
Come on.
Right, dude. I'm there. I'm in it.
Powder and lotion everywhere.
Not powder.
Just wait.
All right.
Anyway, so before we jump into tonight's episode, we have another Transmissions from the Void. All right, Ken, so in the last week or so, maybe 2 weeks, I don't remember, it was announced that horror extraordinaire, I'll put that in quotes, James Wan is bringing The Call of Cthulhu, Lovecraft's seminal tale, to the big screen. And, like any other, longtime Lovecraft fan, as soon as you hear that somebody's adapting something, you get worried.
Yes.
And
once I saw the name James Wan attached to it.
Yeah. Because apparently he's a big fan. In the first Aquaman movie, he has like there's a stack of books in the Dunwich Horrors in there, which makes no sense because that story has nothing to do with the water. It should have been Shadow over Innsmouth, so that's a red flag right there.
What an idiot.
Sure. I mean, his movies are what they are. They're for, but they're not. This happens all the time. You get these announcements about these big movies being made. Like in 2010, James Cameron and Tom Cruise and Guillermo del Toro were like together, and they were like, "We are going to make At the Mountains of Madness." It never happens.
Yeah.
And del Toro has been trying to get At the Mountains of Madness made for forever at this point. I really hope he doesn't, because I don't think it's not in good hands with him, unfortunately. I'm sure many people will disagree with me, but all you need to do is watch his Cabinet of Curiosities and see how he did those two adaptations of Dreams in the Witch House and Pickman's Model, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that's right, they're terrible.
Yeah, I think he just I don't even know what his last good one was, but there was just a point where like a switch flipped and it was just like, ew.
Who, del Toro or James Wan?
Oh, del Toro. James Wan, he's always kind of just been that way.
His movies are what they are. I mean, they're very fast food horror-ish, I guess would be a good way to put it. And for him to do The Call of Cthulhu is very strange to me for a bunch of reasons. I mean, does he get the whole thing? I mean, is this something that he can grasp? Or is he looking at Cthulhu as just a big monster to use?
Right.
Because I guarantee it, he's looking at it like Cthulhu is, like Godzilla, and Cthulhu is not a fucking kaiju. I can't say this loud enough. People get this wrong all the time. It's not something. There can't be any monster battles, so I don't know what he's going for.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, Patrick Wilson's going to play Cthulhu. We know that, right?
He's going to play every one of Cthulhu's tentacles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's going to be a big thing for him.
All the tentacles will be all the roles he plays in James Wan movies.
There it is. Okay. And then Willem Dafoe will be in there for whatever reason. And then maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa for good measure. But yeah, man, I mean, Cthulhu is this being that exists outside of our realm of like understanding. So like, I don't know where he's going to go with this. Of course I'm worried. Everyone should be. But I mean, luckily we'll have gotten to the story by the time it comes out, if it comes out. So you'll be able to, look at it with, with your chin up and very snobbishly be like, that's not correct.
Yeah. Have my monocle for some reason. Keep checking my pocket watch.
Yep. A pinky ring, probably.
Yeah.
Something. But that's coming. They don't have a projected date for it. And honestly, I think this is one of those things where it's like they announce a project, they want to see what the fans say, and then they decide if they're really going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Could be.
I mean, or it could come out and it could be terrible, but could be a silver lining, because if it comes out and it breaks the ice on big Lovecraft movies, then then we can get some really good ones in there. So,
right. Yeah,
who
we'll
knows?
see.
We'll see.
It could be a big bait and switch. This could just be Aquaman 3 and Cthulhu's the bad guy.
You know what? Yes. I think you're actually probably correct. It's Aquaman 3, The Call of Cthulhu. There you go. Here it is, buddy. I think you nailed it.
Check mark for me in the win column.
There it is. All right, so back to Hypnos. This was written in March of 1922 and was first published in May of 1923 in the issue of National Amateur. He dedicated this to his close friend Samuel Loveman, which we will probably cover some stuff about him soon. But Ken, we've got some more of these dream journeyings.
Yay!
I know that's your fave.
It is. It's my favy. Everyone knows that me and the dream stuff.
Dude taking drugs. Hold on. Unnamed narrator.
Yes.
Taking drugs.
Yes.
Doing dreams.
Doing dreams, baby.
Vanishes, or somebody vanishes, and it's just, the real world is worthless.
Right. This one though had more of like the vibe of where we are in his tales. It's more like it feels more like that, like, dark house kind of like moody. It's more moody. It's not so much on the dreams and there was a man on a horse and
this is a guy and his boy. They're up in his John Malkovich room and they're just taking drugs and just tripping balls and going to the dreamlands or wherever they're going.
Yeah.
But we can't know because it's unfathomable.
Really?
Or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
or or the whole thing is imaginary.
Could be. I mean, the way it starts off too, with like where he finds the guy, it's wacky. So it opens up once again, unnamed narrator, like I said. He's a British boy, but a British guy this time. It's either New England or England. That's all you get. And the narrator is telling us that he fears sleep, but he's going to write down his story even if it drives him even further into madness, right? Yeah. And he does not care what people think after reading it, because he's got to get this down, right? Yeah. He's a sculptor, so once again we have this mad artist / poet kind of thing, this motif that he likes to bring in, and he tells us about this mysterious man in a railway station that he encounters. Yeah. Nothing weird about that. And he comes upon this guy, and he's in the center of this crowd. All right, and they're all kind of like curious, and he comes to the guy and he sees that he's unconscious, and he's in this weird convulsion. Yeah, and like people are like staring at him, like
he's having a fit or something.
Yeah, I'm like, is he already on drugs at this point?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And they tell us that he's slight of build. He's wearing all black, of course. Mm-hmm. And we get kind of a look at the guy's his looks. That he opens his eyes and has these immense, sunken, and widely luminous eyes. And then he also describes his forehead, which is very broad. So this is supposed to be Edgar Allan Poe, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Right? Because right from the beginning, like even in the first paragraph, he uses some poisms in there. I mean, he uses nevermore right in the first paragraph, and there's a few other things that come here and go. I don't know. I could be wrong. I was like, this has to be because Poe is Lovecraft's like god of fiction. He called it.
Yeah, that makes sense too. In the where he goes with this story and like how he's like his like he mentor. Sees him. Yeah, and he's like, oh, immediately when he sees him, he's like, teach me how to freak out on a subway platform.
Yeah, can I do that too? Can I just lay next to you and just spaz out?
Yeah. He saw that and he's like, oh my. This is wonderful.
Yeah, and it gets weird right away. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He knew right away that this stranger was become his friend, and even says that the only friend of one who had never possessed a friend before. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever, nerd.
There's lots of quill pens in this story. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So he moves the crowd away, and he tells the guy that he must come home with him and be his teacher and leader in, quote, unfathomed mysteries. I love it. Yeah. And he agrees without a word. So he's just like, okay.
He just let out. He just went, oh.
Yeah, possibly.
And he knew.
He knew. Oh, this is what he was looking for. This talk about a bait and switch.
Yeah.
The joke's on the narrator. So afterward, it's interesting because he talks about how he would have these, he'd speak to the guy and he describes his voice as the music of deep vials and crystalline spheres.
Yeah, we get a little, spindly with descriptions in this one again.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the things that pointed me. I was like, this is Poe. It's got to be. I mean, the description, the whole way that it is, it just,
Right.
Okay. And then, he says that they talk often at night. They have these long conversations. And while they're also talking, he chisels busts of him and these miniature heads in ivory to, quote, immortalize his different expressions. And even he mentions that in the eyes of the stranger, he witnesses these mysteries that he always sought to learn, which is like, okay, it's, the same kind of thing we're talking about with other stories, right? Where we've gotten to before, where it's this other more learned or more, he's more down the path on these weird studies, right?
Yeah.
And he meets this, and it's the two of them. The other one, he's leading the other one along.
Of our studies, it is impossible to speak, since they held so slight a connection with anything of the world as living men conceive it. They were of that vaster and more appalling universe of dim entity and consciousness, which lies deeper than matter, time, and space, and whose existence we suspect only in certain forms of sleep, those rare dreams beyond dreams which come never to common men, and but once or twice in the lifetime, of imaginative men.
So thick on the dream stuff once again, chasing that dragon, chasing that dream. It's these same motifs that we've been over before with Lovecraft, but he's definitely moving towards something here, right? It's like, okay, well, it can't be experienced. Nothing can be experienced in our waking worlds. Let's move it to the dream world. So at night they would have these adventures, right?
Yeah, they would.
Exploring these worlds, they even said it's beyond human comprehension. And the narrator at one point says that his companion, I'll just call him Poe, he starts to speak. He starts to talk about using their ability to transcend into the unknown as a way to rule the universe, which
have we decided on our narrator's name? We gotta remember.
Yeah. Let's see. We should just call him Howard.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but
because it's him. This is totally him.
It's totally him. But I want to call him like Todd. He seems like a Todd in this.
He's a Todd. Okay.
Yeah, because Poe's like, how's the bus coming, Todd? And Todd's like, fantastic, sir.
Oh, I thought you were going more for like, she's not my mother, Todd.
No. I'm going more for like, he's told. He's told. Oh, hello. I'm told.
So, told.
Yeah, I'm just told over here.
Over on Fleet Street.
Yeah. Oh, just let me call your beautiful face.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah.
His name's Todd. All right, let's go
Yeah.
for it.
I love your forehead.
Right. Yeah, so Todd,
Yeah.
Todd and Eddie, perfect.
Yeah, Todd and Eddie.
So he talks about Eddie. He talks about this. He wants to be able to control the universe, which is interesting because this is definitely something that we're gonna come to later with like Case of Charles Dexter Ward, maybe even a little bit of Thing on the Doorstep, but it's like this whole thing that comes about. It's like, all right, so once you pass through this area or this veil of dream or whatever, and you kind of plumb the depths, is this what happens? You come up and you want to manipulate it and try to rule the world, or is this a cautionary tale for the narrator, Todd?
Yeah, Todd, don't reach too far into the darkness, Todd.
Right. That kind of thing.
At this point, though, when he was saying that he wants to like control the universe and everything, I was like, is this one of those characters that's like a manifestation of someone else that I might not know yet or that I've met before?
No.
Then I was kind of like, as I was progressing, I was like, nah, this is just one of those ones where he's like playing with the format and
yeah. No, I mean it's more of this, it's like he's getting there. It's like he has to advance on the path to where he's finally going to get to some really great stuff. He's got to like get this out of his system almost. Like he's like, I know I want, this other world, and I know I want this other, this ability to do these things, and I know that sleep is the key, and like the dream world is the real world. It's more real than the awake world. He's definitely getting there, but he really does use drugs a lot in these stories.
Yeah,
and I didn't realize that. Before rereading again, I was like, man, he really does have his characters do drugs in like every third story.
Right,
from a guy who didn't do drugs at all.
Well, it's just another part of the unknown. You know what I mean? He never did them, so he's like, oh, there must be something in there that makes people so obsessed with that kind of stuff. But you know what though? Like I said, I didn't mind this one so much because simply like he has his like format now, and that like that vibe that he has at this point. And then he's like, let me go try a dream one again with this. That's what it kind of felt like to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was, let me see if I can do, like a little dreamy world here. It's not so Polaris, and it's not so, like
Beyond the Wall of Sleep.
Beyond the Wall of Sleep, where like, it's the buddy cop dream movie.
Right.
But it's no hijinks. It's just like, it's them like, I was picturing like a montage of them like, we're going to make it.
Yeah, and then they're just like cooking meth. Like, try this one. I call this dream meth. Maybe this will help.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go into the beat laboratory and they just see what they come out with.
Yeah. They do that in the dream. Once they get into the dream world, there's a whole lab, and they're like, one's on drums and the others,
They go back and it's just, slapping. They go back and it's the 1980s, but like of what people think the 80s were now. So it's all like the neon colors, It just looks like an episode of Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. Yes. Everyone's wearing day glow. Yes.
Yes. Yes. That's why they can't, we can't, this is beyond human comprehension. That's why he's Lovecraft in 1922 is like, you don't know what's going on here.
Right. No cap.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
So cut to, they're off on another adventure. And they're traveling through this void. And once again, they say that it's beyond human sensation and that they start passing through these barriers. Right.
Yeah.
And then the narrator, Todd,
yes
comes to one he can't get through, but Eddie can.
Yeah, Eddie's already over there, baby.
Yeah. And it's I'm assuming it's some kind of like metaphorical something about the traveling this kind of path or whatever, but he's like immediately woken up because he can't get through. So when he wakes up, he comes to, he comes out of the Matrix. He opens his physical eyes, and he wakes up and he sees his friend across the way who's still asleep, but he's like, he's like moving weird or whatever. And then all of a sudden, he wakes and he's like severely like he wakes up and he's like John Lithgow at Terror at 20,000 feet or whatever like when he's like, like when he's at the height of his freaking out. That's what this guy does when he wakes up.
Yeah. And Todd's like, bad time on your dream follies. That's what he says. Dream
Right,
follies.
the dream
he calls
follies.
Yeah.
Yes. He has a little diary.
it. Yeah. Dream follies. By
but-
Todd.
Ken loved this story, folks.
Yeah.
If there was a monkey in this, we would have been set.
I would have quit the podcast. I would have found it.
Tonight we're covering H.P. Lovecraft's Dream Monkey
With Todd.
with Todd. That's the monkey's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, folks. So after Eddie wakes up, he warns Todd. I'm trying to keep this straight. Sorry, folks. We're trying to have fun with this one.
Yeah.
He warns him that we have to avoid sleep at all cost. Right?
Yeah.
So from then on, going on in the rest of the story, now with the aid of different drugs,
Right.
Lovecraft has no idea what about drugs.
Yeah.
They need to avoid sleep. Like we can't do anything. And this is basically Nightmare on Elm Street now.
Yeah. Well, it seems like what I think happened was so Eddie ODs and he almost dies.
Okay.
But he, whoa. And then he's like, you know what? No more downers, only uppers from here.
Right. So they're just doing tutors everywhere they go.
Yes. Yep.
All night long. They're both sweaty.
Yeah. And when they can't get that, they're, asking kids for their Adderall. They're going nuts.
Wow. They should make a modern adaptation of this one. I'd be into this.
Yeah. We'd play them.
Yeah. I think they'd call it Saltburn.
They could call it that. It'd probably be better too.
No comment.
I will. Ooh.
Yeah, that'll be on our next episode where we do a review of Saltburn.
Yeah. Over on our other podcast.
Yeah, on our other podcast. We'll be a little more loose about it.
Yeah.
So, okay. We're a little antsy in our pantsy right now, folks.
Yeah.
Sorry. We're having a good time with this one.
Yeah.
So they try to avoid the sleep, but they can't. So, and they find that they sleep in a couple of dribs and drabs here, but the crazy thing that's happening is that they're rapidly aging.
Yeah.
Like before each other's eyes.
Yeah. That's
whoa. So, but they're having these nightmares, and then the narrator, although he says he's going to tell us his story, can't explain his story, his nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay. And the narrator then goes on to tell us that one night his friend finally just falls into this weird kind of like deep breathing sleep, right?
Yeah.
And he can't wake him up. And it's as he's in this deep weird sleep, he's got his hair's all white now. He's got like the white goatee. He looks like Pai Mei from Kill Bill 2. That's I don't know why I went there.
Sick reference.
Yes, sick reference, bro. So during the narrator watching him during this deep breathing sleep, this he starts to experience this weird like whining noise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And before he explains this, he tells us that in the couple days prior that Eddie has been like obsessed with the spot in the sky at night.
Yes.
And this is over the year, excuse me. And the place in the sky seems to change. So he realizes that it's a star. Or it's a star cluster.
Yes.
And it seems to be where whatever this is, and it must be where they must have traveled to in Dream, this far off cluster of stars. It's where this horror is coming from that's plaguing him. So while he's having this he's watching his Eddie having these dreams, this weird red light comes out of nowhere, basically. And it doesn't like radiate. It's just it's almost like a laser light almost, and it shines at his face. That's kind of pointing him at the face. And like as he's watching that, he kind of just like freaks out and wakes up, right?
Yeah.
And as he wakes up, he's surrounded by police and neighbors, and they're like, what's going on? It was, there's all these crazy noises that brought him inside. And cut to, he's like, what friend? There's no friend with you in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the only thing in the room with him is the bust of his friend that he said, and it just has the Greek word for hypnos at the bottom.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the story.
Yeah. Well, one thing we didn't talk about that I thought was hilarious was when they needed all the drugs,
Yes.
and he was selling all his busts and
right.
like,
Yeah.
He's like, even if I had the money to get supplies,
I don't want to do it.
I don't even want to do it. I just want to do drugs.
Come on, Todd. Stop doing drugs and sculpt some stuff. Yeah. Hey, man, I've been Todd a few times.
Yeah. Todd's just like, I just want to do drugs. I want to take drugs.
Yeah.
And hang out.
Desperate effort to stay awake.
Yeah. And hang out with Eddie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird stuff.
Yeah. And it's funny that they tell him that at the end, Todd comes to the conclusion that it was art, philosophy, and insanity had filled all of his tragic life.
Yeah.
So they kind of I mean, the tortured artist. That's where Lovecraft likes to go a lot.
That's what we do,
Look, guys, this is it. Art, philosophy, and insanity. That's it.
Yep. What are you bringing over here? Happiness? Get out of here.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it.
So we get kind of this ambiguous kind of idea that happens here. Is this, did he meet this guy? Did they do these weird things? And did they have these experiences, or this follies, right? Or did this guy, in his weird loneliness and being a weirdo artist, this guy, did he create this guy in his mind?
Yes.
Or was this the Greek god Hypnos fucking with him?
Could have been a little all of it. I mean,
Edgar Allan Poe.
Edgar Allan Poe, in the form of Edgar Allan Poe.
Mm-hmm.
Hypnos appears.
Yeah.
And then you fight him in Returnal, the video game. I don't know, but no, it's all Greek gods. It's based on it's based on all like that kind of stuff.
So Hypnos is in that game then.
Helios, there's a lot of them. Like a lot of the
Hypnos,
bosses. It might be. I think Hypnos isn't it actually.
He's the god of sleep, I think.
Well, the whole thing is like all these different creatures are named after gods, and you're actually an astronaut. It's pretty Lovecraftian, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, might be able to something we might need to be something that we cover at some point.
And I beat that game with a good ending. So here's your boy over here. Put time into that one. That game was hard AF, but I loved it.
Wow. Good job, buddy.
Thanks, man.
That was you just, filling your life with, what was it?
Insanity,
art, philosophy, and insanity. Yeah. That might become the, I'm gonna have to put that underneath the masthead of learning Lovecraft. Art, philosophy, and insanity.
Yes, I think that's the next move. Because I do. That's me. Those hard video games that I play, the ones that make everyone rage quit and stuff. Yeah. It's insanity because I'm like, yes, be harder than it should be. Yeah.
Yep. Hey man, you're on a different path than I am. I like to unplug and play video games.
No, I like to raise my blood pressure and
like I mentioned earlier, this is stuff that we've seen before, but like you mentioned, he's kind of trying to put it in a different mode, and I kind of appreciate that, because I remember when I was rereading this, and I reread it a couple of times because I kind of have to. I was just like, this isn't terrible. He's definitely kind of trying to distill it down, or at least try to make it work a little bit better than like Ex Oblivione or Polaris or even Beyond the Wall of Sleep. So it's all in all,
and Beyond the Wall of Sleep, didn't they like go Super Saiyan and like fight a dream entity? Didn't that happen?
Yes. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there was that dream entity that was like made of energy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they had like the weird apparatus.
Yeah, it was like Majin Buu, and then
right. I thought Cell showed up. I don't know.
Maybe. But yeah, the dream stuff, like, so these ones, like the other ones, like they didn't have the structure, the moodiness that where we're at now. Like those ones were kind of like, all right, yeah, there's a narrator and he goes, oh, this crazy stuff happened. Let me tell you about it.
Yeah, but then I'm not going to tell you about it.
Yeah, but then I'm not. And like, I don't know. Like I didn't mind this one so much, one, because it was shorter.
Yes.
And two, it's in the vibe that we're in. Like we've reached that. It still has that kind of haunted house vibe.
Right. And after having just read Herbert West Reanimator, you kind of have that on the brain a little bit, and then you bring it to this. It's like, okay, we know what Howard is capable of,
Right.
So it's not so like,
Yeah, I'm not so mad at him right now.
Right. There's not all that golden light and heart music and like falling petals. It's not so bad.
Yeah, I don't feel so much of my Irish. You know what I mean?
You're not very. This isn't. You know what? This isn't Dunsanian. It really. I don't think that it is. I think this is. He's definitely moved away from it because it's not. You don't get that like. We don't have like
explanation of the dream stuff. It's like, hey, when we're sleeping, weird stuff's happening, but
But you weren't there, so
yeah,
you don't get to know
unless you have drugs. In which
So this was basically H.P. Lovecraft's "If You Know, You Know."
Yeah, with drugs.
With drugs.
All right, so you know what's funny though? I read this right after my bout with that allergy, so I was taking like lots of Benadryl.
Right.
So like I was in and out of these weird like sleep states, you know.
So you were going to the dreamland in and out of while reading this. I like that.
So I was like, I get it, you know. I was like, I get this one.
Yeah.
Because I was on my drugs, my Benadryl, the hard stuff, you know.
That pink awful liquid.
Oh no, I crushed it up in pill form and snorted it.
Oh, they're even worse. That accursed powder.
The pink powder.
Yep.
Mixed with Dimetap.
Oh. That got all those like Vietnam vets. They were all still addicted to that shit. That's what they had to do, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, just a little bit of backstory on this. There's an entry into one of HPL's commonplace books where he gives a little plot germ for the story, and he just had written down in there that it says, "The man who would not sleep, dares not sleep, takes drugs to keep himself awake, finally falls asleep, and something happens." So that was the kind of like plot germ for that, but you could totally see where he's going with this, like we said. And it's, it's in like, and also like you said, it's in the mode of what we're already doing, where we're at in his, chronology of stories. And I'm not too mad about it because I know what stories are coming up.
Right. He was just casting the rod, the rod back out into the dream world. Yeah,
he's like, let me try with this book and this baseline. Let me see if this works a little better.
Yeah, we'll put the buzz bait on it right out there. Yeah.
Yep. Yes. So there it is. I mean, I think we said in previous episodes that, we let the story itself kind of dictate the vibe. And this is not a very heavy story. It's a very, this is like a sketch. This is like a tight drawing. It's not a full painting. It's not a full realized thing. It's like he's working out some ideas here, and it's I can dig it. And he threw his hero into there, Poe.
Oh, right.
So, and it's, he led him on these excursions because he had been there before, and I kind of dig that. I mean, the execution is but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I wasn't furious after it. I was like, all right.
Yeah, it wasn't after you read. Which one did you really hate? I forget, but it was one of the dream ones.
Yeah, what the ship, the one with the ship. What was it?
Oh, the white ship.
White ship. I was not a fan of the white ship.
It starts out like you think it's going to be good. There's a dude at a lighthouse. They're talking about like ancient stuff. There's a castle. You're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And it's like,
there's a bird, and I follow it on the ship. And you're like,
he was like 15 when he wrote that or whatever.
Yeah, there was another one too. I can't remember, but I didn't mind Polaris so much. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, you didn't like Ex Oblivione, and
yeah.
And that's in this vein, but like not. That was just like him really starting to get his footing, and it's just
yeah. I remember I even like kind of like yelled at you. I think.
I think you did. You're like, what the did I just read? I'm like, hey man, it all gets somewhere. Don't worry.
I'm like, I was in this for the tentacles.
Yeah.
And the dimension creatures.
Yeah.
Not dream follies.
Yeah, where's Krang in Dimension X? I thought that you said that was in these stories.
Krang, yeah. With his new body.
Yeah, and the Technodrome.
Yeah.
So speaking of, coming up and what else is going on, next time we're going to be covering 2 very short stories. So we're going to do a twofer. We're going to be doing What the Moon Brings and Azathoth. So... Yeah, we got a big name there. What the Moon Brings it's like a page. They're both like a page. So we're going to do these together. So if you're keeping up with us, you're coming along with us, check those 2 out. And then after that, we've got some great ones coming up, man. Then we have Horror at Morton's Beach, and then we have The Hound. Hopefully we have a special guest for that episode.
Oh. Sam Heimer? No, I'm just kidding.
No, Sam will be back, just not for that story. But yeah, I mean, this was... little light fit episode, beginning of the year kind of thing. We just wanted to, ease back into the Lovecraft.
Yeah, why the hell not?
Why the hell not? But yeah, for the next episode, we What the Moon Brings and Azathoth. So,
all right.
I think that's all I have for Hypnos. Anything else, sir?
No, I don't think we need to cast these characters because we already know who they are. We know who plays them.
It's H.P. Lovecraft and Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, that's who plays them in this movie.
Yeah, yeah, the real guys.
The real guys. Eddie and Todd.
All right, well, thank you for joining us once again for this episode of Learning Lovecraft. I've been Jason McKittrick.
And I've been Ken James.
And we'll see you beyond the wall of sleep.